Thank you, Ursula. As Ursula said, my name is John Caldwell, and I'm going to go through SEO, copywriting, wider intrinsically linked, and give you some tips in about 10 minutes. So it's going to be very high level. Again, send me off some questions afterwards if you have any after today. Just a quick introduction to who we are. We've been around for about 12, 13 years. We set up in the SEO space about 13 years ago, created the brand Creator SEO. We then moved into everything digital, from digital strategy, brochure websites, PPC, etc. SEO accounts probably for about 30% of our revenue now, and we introduced the brand ABC Digital about 5 years ago. We work with an awful lot of Enterprise Ireland clients. We presented their roadshows, and we're on their panel of mentors. So if you're Enterprise Ireland clients, you may or may not come across us. When you look at SEO and you look at search, one of the key things that we'd like to get across to you is perception is reality. If you don't appear on page 1 on Google, people assume you don't exist. And what do I mean by that? Even if you have the best service, best quality, best price, if the search engines aren't picking you up and people don't find you, you don't exist. And that also relates back to the words or phrases that people use to find you. Now, I'm going to use the term keywords as I talk through today in terms of search. And the reason why I use keywords rather than key phrases is that when people search, they put in words rather than phrases. So again, an example would be somebody searching for insurance. They might put in insurance, Ireland, car. It doesn't make sense from an English point of view, but it's a set of words. So in the industry, we use keywords rather than key phrases, and that's what the search engines use. But if your customers don't find your products or services, they assume that you don't sell them unless they go onto your website. And generally speaking, people won't go past page 1. So 95% of people will only look at results on page 1, and they normally assume the results in the first 3 results provide the best services. In terms of time, you've got about 2 to 3 seconds to engage a customer, not just for search results. So when somebody looks at a set of search results, they scan down through them very, very quickly. If they don't see what they're looking for, they'll put another word into the search phrase. So about 40 to 50% of people don't click on any results that they see. So they'll put an extra word in there to find what they're looking for. And the same for your websites. So when somebody goes onto a web page, they want to get a feeling very quickly for what you do. They're time poor. If they don't see what they're looking for very quickly in terms of imagery, trust, and copy, in terms of the content there, they'll generally move on very, very quickly. Think of yourselves. So from a copywriting point of view, you want to make sure you've got the right keywords in there to get the customer's attention. Some top tips from Google. First of all, they look at mobile first, not desktop. So everything is driven by mobile in terms of search results. The top 3 things that Google are looking for is good quality content, and content in terms of being unique. If you're using generic content that you're getting from a central source, you may find that your results may not show, purely because Google will deem it as being duplicate content, and they will award the authorship to the first page that they find. Also, from good quality content, they're going to look at the length of text you're using, how authoritative it is. They're looking at the readability of that text. They're looking at the accessibility of it in terms of the font colors, in terms of text and background colors, etc. So it's quite in-depth what they're looking at. The next thing they look at is what's called the meta tags. So your page title and description against each of your pages. And Google read those. Now there's rules around those, but it's your first chance to market your services. So again, a good copywriter will make sure that they get that page description in particular right for your customers reading it. And what tends to happen from a search point of view, if somebody clicks on the result on position 4 instead of position 3, Google will invert those because of what they call click-through rates. So it's quite important to get that right. And the last key point from Google is speed. So making sure your site is fast. In terms of a good copywriter will understand your business, they'll understand your audience, and they'll understand search engine optimization. So search engine optimization is building blocks. With AB Commerce, you've got a very good content management system, so you've got the good infrastructure that Google's looking for first and foremost. The next thing they're looking for is the keywords that you're using. So what keywords do they allocate per page? So the search engines typically allocate 2 terms per page, and that's it. For your category pages, you're probably talking about maybe 6 terms, and for your home page, probably maybe 30 to 40. So if you want to rank for 100 terms, I'm saying to you, you need probably about a 40-page website to do that. So you need to get that right. Other key things from a search perspective, link building, links coming into your site, and your social engagement are important. So from a copywriting point of view, a good SEO copywriter, what they're doing is actually writing very good copy, but then also understanding what the search engines are looking for, and it's a process. So once you follow the guidelines that Google offer, you will rank. And again, you might find somebody who isn't an expert in your field, but they follow Google's guidelines, and they will outrank you if they follow those guidelines and meet those. But a good copywriter will make sure the copy is good. So SEO will get the person into your website. If the copy is good, they'll engage with you and do what you want them to do. If your SEO is bad, they won't find you in the first place. If the SEO is good and your copy is bad, they'll come onto your page and leave, and they won't engage. So you have to get both right. Some examples of keywords in terms of how Google works. Google sometimes actually looks at a keyword and says, some of these are related, some are not. Sometimes they'll take plurals and singulars and say the same thing. So the example we have here is the top 3 in terms of acne cream, acne creams, and creams acne. Google see those as the same term. So anybody searching in either one of those terms, they'll give them the same set of search results. If you look at the 3rd row down there, acne scar cream and acne scars cream, again, adding a plural in there, Google see them as completely different terms. The difference now is that you got 9 times more people searching for acne scar cream. So the reason for giving you these examples is that when you look at your keywords, you want to look at the terms that people are using to find you. And when you're doing copywriting, there's no point in writing copy around things people aren't searching for, because you might rank for those terms. If nobody's searching for them, you're not going to get any traffic. If you don't get traffic, you're not going to get sales. So it's using the right terms to drive your business. Again, your copywriter is going to understand your business. They're going to understand your audience. They're also going to actually try and write the copy in such a way that they'll get the customer to engage with you and do what you want them to do. So one of the things we say to customers, know what success looks like for you on a page, and know what success looks like for your customer. And ultimately, you want the customer to click the buy now button. If it takes too long, they got to read too much, it's too difficult, the sentence structures are too long, they'll move, they'll go somewhere else. So again, you want to give them a very good experience when they're engaging with you. There are 3 stages to good copywriting: preparation, writing, and then the fixing of issues and getting your SEO right. In terms of preparation, purpose. What is the purpose of this page? What's the success look like for ourselves and our customer? What's the search intent? Why are they here? What do they want? Do they want to buy something? Do they want to get information? Why is that there? Keyword analysis. Do your analysis, get your keywords, know what they are, choose the ones that you want to use, because there are thousands of these out there. And I'll show you some examples of those in a couple of minutes. And text structure. So think about the layout of the page, what information you want in there, what's going to make that customer do what you want them to do. Look at the positioning of particular sentences and why you have them in that sequence. In terms of writing, again, some of this sounds obvious, but an awful lot of people don't do it very well. Make sure the copy is easy to read. Use short sentences. Short sentences, I'm talking about 8 to 12 words per sentence on average. Use bullet points. Work very well from an SEO point of view, but work very well in terms of engagement. Use the keywords on the page, but spread them out. And again, follow the SEO guidelines on that. Storytelling works particularly well here in Ireland. If you go to different geographies, you'll find different cultures will engage differently. So you go to Nordic countries, they tend to want more features and more language rather than getting into benefits and storytelling. So use what makes sense for your customers. When you're fixing, check spellings. One of the first things Google does on a page, it checks your spellings. You get penalized for misspellings, and that includes putting in Z's where you should have S's. So if Google thinks your target market is Ireland, if you're spelling optimization, for instance, they expect it to be spelled with an S. If you're using a Z, you'll get penalized for that. If you've got bad grammar, they pick up on that as well. If you've got bad ratios and poor readability, you'll get pinged for that as well. Review your text structure. Does it make sense? Get somebody to look at it, especially the first few pages you do. Irish people will generally tell you what you want to hear, so you're probably better off getting somebody who's not Irish, or somebody who's going to give you an honest opinion in terms of what's there. Check your SEO. There's lots of tools out there. Even on our own sites, there are tools up there you can use. You can check densities, information. So SEO, you're talking about usually 250 different criteria. An awful lot of the basic infrastructure and the technical stuff is already taken care of with A/B commerce, so use that. Some tips, and I've covered some of these already. Know your reader. Know their educational level. Google tries to look at the educational level of your reader and the educational level of the language you're using on your page. If they don't match, you get pinged, so you want to make sure that's right. Grammar, spelling, we've talked about. Make sure it's easy to read. Benefits over features. So try and get the benefits out there before features. Works in terms of pages. For e-commerce sites, your buy now is your call to action. If you're putting other pages on your site, have a good call to action. What does success look like? And why do you do this? The better optimized the content is, the more traffic you get, the more sales you're going to get, and more engagement you're going to get. And you can look at, on our own website, you'll see there's some blogs up there that will actually tell you the relationship between your ranking position and traffic, and it can make a massive, massive difference. I'll give you one example in terms of getting keywords right. One customer of ours that we engaged with, by changing the word course to courses on what they were selling, we increased their traffic to the site sixfold by using by just changing one letter. So getting those right are key to your business. In terms of keyword research, what we do in terms of keyword research is that we go away and analyze your market. We'll look at all of the keywords that could potentially be used, and they can be tens of thousands from Google. How do you sort through those? So what we do is that we segment or cluster those into relevant sections for you. We've got the average monthly search from Google in that particular region. That could be Ireland, UK, worldwide, it could be Germany, whatever. And then using our own tools, we look at those and say, well, what is the competitive opportunity? What is the forecasted growth or not for that particular keyword over the next 12 months? How easy is it to implement? And then using that, you can make decisions about what keywords will I use. For this particular example, for this particular client, we came back with 11,000 different variations of keywords. And we split that up and we segmented it. And then we were able to prioritize for them which keywords we recommend they go after first. This is something that we've introduced with A/B commerce customers. If anybody's interested in that, have a chat with Gillian, and we'd be more than happy to give you a 15% discount on the price of that. My final slide, and in summary, again, know your audience, plan your content, make sure you're using the right keywords, use short sentences. I can't stress that enough. An awful lot of people, when they write, your product so well that you keep writing and you put too much text in there. Give the customer what they're looking for. Don't assume they're interested in your business. And again, sometimes some mistakes that people make is that they talk about the business or they talk about what they're doing well. Your customer cares about what they're interested in buying or what their need is. So make sure you're matching that. And again, always write around what they're looking for and make it conversational and make it engaging for that particular customer. And above all, make it unique and make it memorable. If a customer's looking at your product or service and are looking at it on 2 or 3 other customers, what's going to make yours memorable? Why will it come back and buy from you? So use the right words, make it easy to read, make it memorable, use good imagery. That's all from me. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the morning. Thank you.